Hello everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to have problem number 18. It's about write a program to generate and print 3 random numbers from 1 to 10. So once we did run to the program that we build it to generate and print 3 random numbers for us from 1 to 10, the output should to be 619. So we want to write a program to generate and print 3 random numbers. For example, after we built this program and we did run, the compiler should print for me each time I did run different random number. For first time, for example, the compiler will print for me 619, but if I did run again, close the program and did run again, the compiler should give me different random numbers in the range of 1 to 10. Okay, to do this we have to include #include cstd library. Cstd library, this library or header file, is like iostream, like string. So to do this we have first to include this library or header files. #include cstdlib, and after that we have to call one time this line of code, which is srand unsigned time null. Srand unsigned time null, and no need to memorize it. I just want you to understand the concept, okay? And don't even ask me for when I bring this srand unsigned time null, because you can Google it and you can bring it anytime you need it. So no need to memorize it at all. Just understand the concept of the logic of this problem, because it's really important and we rely on it in the next problems. All right, so after we include the cstd library, we have to call srand unsigned time null one time in the main function. Focus here, we need to call this line of code in the main function, which is srand unsigned time null, one time. I write it here for you in the red, just one time. If you use this line of code, or you take it and put it in one of your procedures or one of your functions and it is run, the compiler will give you the same random number. For example, use this line of code in the main function and also you take it, you put it inside any function or procedure you build it in the program, and it did run. The first time compiler will give you 619, and you close the program and it did run again, the compiler also will give you 619 for second time. Why the compiler doesn't give you different number when it is run for the second time? Because you use srand unsigned time null, this line of code, in different places in the program. In your program, you have to use it just one time in the main function. All right, so what's srand unsigned time null do? Here I write it for you. We call srand unsigned time null one time at the beginning of the program to initialize the random number generator to use a rand built-in function, because after we include this library or header file cstd library and we put this line of code in the main function just for one time to let the compiler print for us different number each time, we have also to use rand built-in function. Its function exists inside the cstd library. Without cstd library, we will not see srand unsigned time null, and we will not see rand function, the built-in function. So we have first to include this library, and after that we use this line of code in the main function, and after that to print different numbers we have to do cout rand function, cout less than, and we write these letters and the brackets. Okay, so to let this rand function, the built-in function, gives different numbers each time we run the program, we have first to turn on the generator of this function, which is rand built-in function. Okay, how we will turn on the generator of this rand built-in function? By using this line of code, srand unsigned time null. To let the rand built-in function work, we have first to call or put this one line of code in the main function just for one time. All right, so let's go to the second slide and see how it looks like on the Visual Studio. Perfect. As we said, #include stream, this is header file and library. We already use it since we start to develop and program on Visual Studio. And after that, to use the srand unsigned time null in the main function, here this is the main function, we have to include, as we said a minute ago, cstd library or header file. So once we include cstd library, now we can write this line of code, srand unsigned time null. Okay, what is do? As I explained just right now, initialize the random number generator to use the rand built-in function. How will you use the rand built-in function? We'll use it here in the main function after this line of code, srand unsigned time null. We will say cout less than the rand, and once we did run to the program, the compiler will print for us a random number, or bring us or display for us on the screen a random number between 0 and 32,762. Why 32,767? Because the range of rand built-in function, I write it here for you. If you want to know the maximum number of the rand built-in function, you have to use this line of code, cout less than rand underscore mask, all of them uppercase. I write here comment for you. This code to know the max number of rand built-in function is 32,762. It also depends about the compiler of the programming language. While we're using or developing using C++ programming language, the compiler of C++ programming language, when we write rand underscore max, the compiler will print for us 32,760 because the maximum number of the rand built-in function, according to the compiler of C++, it's 32,762. There is another compilers belong to different programming language. It will give you bigger than this number, and there is other compilers belong to the different programming language. It will give you less than this number. All right. So the maximum number here now with us in our case 32,767, and its range starts from 0 to 32,767. For that, when we call here in the main function after srand unsigned time null the rand built-in function, the compiler for first time, for example, when we call the rand built-in function for first time, for example, cout less than rand, first time give us 30,000, give us number within the range of the rand built-in function, which is starting from 0 up to 32,767. Okay, for second time give us 10,000, for example, and for the third time when we called it, it's give us 100. So to build a program or write a program to generate and print random numbers for you, first thing we have to include cstd library, and in the main function we have to use this srand unsigned time null for one time in the main function. After that we can use the rand built-in function many times, depends about how many times we want the compiler print for us random numbers. If you want the compiler print for us 3 random numbers in same time, so we'll call or we'll use the rand built-in function for 3 times. If you want the compiler just print for us one random number, we will just call it one time, cout less than rand and brackets. Don't forget to use the bracket that belongs to the function. Okay, its built-in function exists inside cstd library, but this is if you want to print random numbers according to the range of rand built-in function. We said the range of rand built-in function starts from 0 up to 32,000. But if you want to print random numbers by using rand built-in function, but according to our range, for example, I want the compiler print for me random numbers between 1 and 10. Within my range, I will create range, and I want to use rand built-in function to print for me random numbers according to my range, not according to random built-in function range, because the rand built-in function range starting from 0 to 32,000 up to 32,000, but I want the compiler print for me numbers between 1 and 10. This is my range, for example. Okay, how are we gonna do this? We will see it in the next slide. Let's go to the third slide and the last one, and after that we'll go to the Visual Studio to practice on this code. So to let the compiler print for you random numbers according to your range that you will create it in your program, first thing we will say hashtag include string. This is normal to use cout object and less than and these things. Okay, you already explained what is iostream and hashtag include. And after we include the iostream, as usual, since we started to develop, as we said, we include the cstd library, which is the library that exists inside it, the srand unsigned time null, and the rand built-in function. Okay, but every time we do run using srand unsigned time null and we called or we use the rand built-in function, the compiler return for me random number or display for me on console screen random number between 0 and 32,000. But I have small range. I want the compiler print for me or display for me on console screen according to my range, not the rand built-in function range. So I will need to build a function for it, and after that I will use the name of the function and I will put in its parameter my range, and in the same time also I will use rand built-in function inside the function that I will create it by myself. Where's our function? Here. Integer generate random number. I name the function like this. It's from integer data type. Generate random number. Alright, it has from and to, and here in the main function, when I use the name of the function, when I call my function, this is my function above the main function. Here integer main function we use for one time srand unsigned time null, and we call, for example, rand built-in function. The compiler will return for me a random number according to the rand range. Okay, but I want also the compiler return for me a random numbers according to my range, which is 1 and 10. So I build function. It's called GenerateRandomNumber, and I declare 2 variables in its parameter, from and to, and I assign to from 1 and to 2, 10, as you saw it here in the main function. 1 to from, 10 to 2. Okay? What it has, this function, generate random number? It has integer range. This is variable, it's called range, belongs to that integer data type, equal to minus from plus 1. What does this line of code mean? This part counts how many numbers exist from the first number to the last number. And I give you here example. Even if you not understand it, I will explain it to you more and more now and on Visual Studio also. For example, the first time when I called my function generate random number, I put in its parameter 1 and 10. So if I told you count how many numbers I have in this range, my range between 1 and 2, count it with me now. We have range starting from 1, start point from 1, and the end point 10. How many numbers we will have? 10 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 numbers within my range that I set it in the parameters of generate random number, as you saw it on the slide. 1, 10, right? So here the formula of this line of code, 2 minus from plus 1, is set the size of my range. Is set the size of my range. For example, from we assign to it 1, 2 assign 10. How many numbers are we have it within my range? 10 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10, right? So this line of code, it will account that I have 10 numbers within my range. For that, we use this formula, 1 minus 10 plus 1 equal 10. So why I said 2, which is stored inside it number 10 according to the parameter here, minus from, which is stored inside number 1 according to parameter here. So 10 minus from, 10 minus 1, it's 9, plus 1, it's again get back 10. Why? I didn't erase this line of code and I put number 10 directly. We can put number 10 directly if our range it's always fixed, because if you see here on the slide, when I use for the second time the same function generate random number, I have different range, 5 from assigned to it 5 and 2 assigned for it 8. And that explain what if I put here just number 10, because 2 minus from, 10 minus 1, it's 9, plus 1, it's 10. If I put just 10 here, for the second time, for the second range, which is 5 and 8, the result, it will be wrong of this program. Compiler will return for me a wrong random numbers. Why? Because if we come to account how many numbers we have in the second range, account with me the number in the second range. How many number we have in the second range? 5 and 8, between 5 and 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 4 numbers from 0 to 3. I will explain to you why from 0 to 3, not from 5 to 8. Numbers are 5, 6, 7, 8. I want you to focus in this lesson with me. Don't panic. Still, I didn't finish. I will not finish this lesson. I will not close the video unless that you understand it. Okay? I want you to understand it deeply. And even if you're not got it, you can watch the video again, or you can reach me on the Telegram channel. Let's get back to our lesson. So it doesn't matter our range start from which point and end up in which point. The matter that how many numbers we have within our range that we set in the parameters. For example, the first time we have 10 numbers within our range, and the second time we have just 4 numbers in our range. Between 5 and 8 we have 5, 6, 7, 8, which means 4 numbers. So we account it as a 4 digits. The formula, it will be 8 minus 5 plus 1 is give me 4. For that, I'm always using the name of the variables, and I add also 1, because when we come here we say integer result equal rand mod range. To compare, for example, when we use rand built-in function, return for me random number according to its range, which is starting from 0, focus here, starting from 0 up to 32,000. So let's say that when we use it here, we say rand, before we go to mod range, rand, the rand return for me, we just call the function now, rand, it's built-in function. Directly, the compiler return for me 37, for example. So 37 mod 10, from where we bring 10? We bring it from this line of code that we store it inside the range, because we say 2 minus from plus 1, 10 minus 1, 9 plus 1, 10, 10 stored inside the range. So after that, when we come here, we say integer result. This is variable, the result also belong to integer data type, equal rand. Rand, it will return for me a random number, as we said right now. Okay, it's also from its name, rand, which means random. So the compiler, when we use here rand, the compiler directly will return for me a random number according to rand built-in function range, which is start. Again, I repeat it for you, which is start from 0 to 32,000 up to 30,000. So let's say that the compiler, when we called here the rand built-in function, return for me 37. 37 mod 10, and we say 10, we bring it from the range because the range is stored inside the 10 because of this line of code here. Okay, because this line of code, it's account for me how many numbers I have in my range, which means the size of the range. For that, we not write fixed number here, for example 10 or 8 or 4. No, we use the name of the variables and we plus it 1 because the mod rule always start from 0. Now I'll explain to you. Wait for me. So let's get back. We say when we use here rand, compiler give us or return for us number 37. 37 mod 10 is give us 7, which is correct as a remainder because modulo is division, but with leftovers. 37, because we use rand here, rand built-in function, is written for me random number according to the rand range, which is between 0 and 37, 0 and 32,000. Compiler return for me 37. 37 mod 10 is give me 7, correct, which is a correct as a remainder, but according to the modulo or mod range, which is starting from 0 to 9. So why mod not account my range from 1 to 10? Because here first time when I use the function name GenerateRandomNumber, I use in its parameter 1 to 10. Why the mod here doesn't account my range and starting from its range? Modulo, the mod, it has its own range, which is always start from 0 to the size range, that's belong to our range. But starting from 0, which means shifted one number down. Its start point, the modulo, its start point different than my start point. My start point here in the first range, it's 1. From 1 to 10. My start point from 1. So my start point of my range, it's 1, not 0. But the modulo, it has its own range and starting from 0, which means it will return for me a wrong remainder. Wrong number, wrong random number. Because modulo, I write it here for you. Because modulo doesn't care about my desired range. It's rule in math. Modulo only gives the remainder according to its range, the modulo range, which starts from 0 to the size of the range. The size of the range, which is 10 numbers. Here I have, as we accounted in the beginning, we say, account for me how many numbers I have between 1 and 10. He told me I have 10 numbers, and that's correct. So here when we said that the modulo doesn't care about my desired range, modulo only gives the remainder according to its range, which starts from 0, not from 1, because our range starts from 1 to 10, and the modulo range starts from 0 to the size range. If it was 10, and the mod range is from 0, so it will be from 0 to 9 are 10 numbers. That's correct. My range that I assign it here or set it here in the first function generate random number, it starts from 1 to 10, right? Which means we have 10 numbers. And when the modulo starts according to its range from 0 to 9 also, which means 10 numbers, because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. But this is going to bring for me a wrong random number, which means when the compiler return for me according to the rand built-in function 37 mod 10 and give me 7, the 7 according to the range of the modulo, it's correct. But the 7 according to my range, it's wrong. Why? Because if you take 37 mod 10 equal, it will give you 8 if your range starts from 1. If the modulo range was starting from 1 like my range, the remainder it will be 8, not 7. For that here we say plus from. We shift the range by 1 by using plus from stored inside number 1. So we use the value that's stored inside the variable from, and we say plus from. So here random or rand mod range 37 mod 10 give me 7, we make it 8 because we say plus from plus 1, we make it 8. Why we make it 8? Because all the time the modulo going to rule my range that I set it in the parameters of the function that I created here, and I set my ranges. The first range is from 1 to 10, but the modulo, its range starts from 0 to the size of the range. It will give you 10 numbers. For example, 0 to 9 is 10 numbers. 1 to 10 is 10 numbers. But my range is not from 0 to 9. My range is not even from 0 to 10. My range is from 1 to 10. And the second range for me is from 5 to 8. So for that, each time I will do this math, rand mod range, the compiler will return for me a random number, and I will mod it with the number, for example 10. The range it will store, or our case here inside it, 10. So 37 mod 10 equal 0. It's correct according to the range of the modulo, but according to my range, which is starting from 1 to 10, it's wrong. So for that, I will shift it by using +1 or plus from. And if my range starting from 0 to 10, I will not need to use plus from, because the modulo range also starting from 0 to the size of the range. Take these numbers, I have 10 numbers, but start from 0. So I count for you first 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 9. It gives you 10 numbers, but starting according to its range. I think it's really dark, we have to turn on the light. For second time, we use the rand mod range, and the rand return for me, for example, not 37, return for me number 30, 30 mod 10, it will give me 0. And this is wrong, because I don't have in my range any 0. My range starting from 1 and it's ending point, it's 10. So 30, if you go now to open your calculator, you write 30 mod 10, it will give you 0. But my range doesn't have any 0, start directly from 1. So when the compiler display for me 0, it's wrong. For that, I use plus from to shift the remainder result, or the result of this math rand mod range plus from. I shift it by 1, or I increase it by 1, because I want the correct random number. So when you want the compiler or the program return for you number between this range, or according to this range, 5 and 8, we have just 4 numbers. The compiler should return for you random number, because we use rand built-in function. So the compiler should return for us by using the second range, which is 5 and 8. The compiler should return for you just 4 numbers, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. And after we use the rand built-in function and the compiler mod it with the range for the second range, which is 4 numbers, so it will be rand mod 4, because we have 4 numbers inside this range. All right, the size of this range is 4 numbers. So let's say 37 mod 4. What it will give us? Why mod 4? Because we have 4 numbers inside this range. The size of the second range is just 4 numbers. Let me turn on the lights. Second, please. So the compiler will come here. We say rand mod range. Rand mod range for the second time, so inside number 4. Let's say the compiler also return for us 37. 37 mod, not 10, 4, because the second range is size 4. All right. Let's say the compiler for second time return for us 37. 37 mod 4. It will give us 1, which is wrong. Why wrong? Because it should give us 6. How 6? Because our range starts from 5 and end up at 8, which means to have each time random number within this range, 5 and 8, we have to shift the modulo range from 0 to 3 to 5 to 8. Because as we said, the modulo here, modulo doesn't care about our desired range. Modulo only gives remainder according to its range, which starts from 0 to the size of range. The second time size of range is 4, and the modulo range is starting from 0. So 4 numbers according to the modulo range starting from 0, not from 5. This is our range starting from 5. Modulo starting from 0. But our second range, it has 4 numbers. So 4 numbers, if you start to account 4 numbers according to the modulo range, which is start from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So when we said 37, according to the rand built-in function, when we did run for the second time, also give us a random number, which is, let's say 37. Let's assume it's 37. Mod 4, because the second range, it has just 4 numbers. 37 mod 4 give us 1, which is wrong. Why wrong? Because our range starts from 5 to 8. To let compiler return for us a random number according to our second range, we have to shift the modulo range by using plus from, because for second time our range starts from 5 to 8. starting from 5 to 8. So to let the compiler for second time bring us the correct random number, we have to shift all the time the modulo range to our range. The modulo range, it starts from 0 to where it's end up according to the size of the range. For the second time, our size of the second range, 5 and 8, it's 4 numbers, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8, according to the modulo range, starting from 0, the modulo range. 0, 1, 2, 3, stop like this. So if we take 37, the random number that the compiler returned for us when we use rand built-in function, mod 4, because we have 4 numbers in the second range, it will give us one which is wrong, because we don't have number 1 in the second range. We don't have number 1 in the second. Do you see any number 1? Do you see number 1 in the second range? No. Numbers are 5, 6, 7, 8. Account is 4. Why the numbers are 5, 6, 7, 8? Because our range starts from 5. So after 5, 6. After 6, 7. And the last number in our range, 8. So why the compiler brand for me 1? Because according to the modulo range. So how I shift this modulo range? By using plus from. From, it will be stored inside for second time what? Number 5. So when I said plus 5, which means I will take number 1, the final result, random mod range, 37 mod 4, it's give me 1, plus 5, 6, that's the correct random number that I wanted to be returned according to my second range. Let's go now to Visual Studio to see how we're gonna run this code. I already explained everything here, like everything typically it will be on the Visual Studio like this. I'll just explain it so fast and then run it and see the random numbers, because you already you have to already understand it. Yeah, I'm not the best guy who can explain these things good. There is some of you, they will know some math, they will understand me so fast. Some of you, it's new things for them. And I just want to tell you something, that your future is not going to stop on this programming or on this program. It's just problem, we solve it. If you couldn't solve it, pass it. It's already problem solving. This course problem solving. And if you ask me, there is any problems I cannot solve it now, zillions of problems. If you stop me from it, I will doesn't know what this mean, the lines of code. I cannot even understand it. Or I understand it, but I don't know how can I solve this problem. There is a lot of problems with my own experience in the market for years. I couldn't solve them. There's a lot of problems. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not shame. No, all the developers in the world, they know how to solve some problems. The basic things that it help us in the world, not the basic, like the things that they already passed it, that they face it in the projects, in the world, according to their experience. But the main thing that you should to know how to search about the solution, to find the solution for your problem that you'll face it in your job or in your tasks, you have to gain this skill. You have to have this skill as a developer. But generally, you shouldn't solve all the problems. Even the people that they go to lead code and this thing to solve the problems, to me, it's wasting time if you're not going to the competitive, programming competitive, hackathon or something like this. So now let's go to Visual Studio. I speak so much in this lesson, sorry. But also the projects, it will take from us hour, maybe more than an hour, the projects that we put them together in the end of this course number 4. So I want you now to go to Visual Studio. Let's go together to Visual Studio to see how we will run this program. Let's go to Visual Studio now, please. All right, guys, this is our solution problem number 18. Write a program to generate and print 3 random numbers from 1 to 10. As we said, first thing we need to include IOStream to use cout object and less than, and after that we need to include cstd library, like the string IOStream, but the string here we don't need it because we don't have string, it's from the previous problem. So we include cstd library to found this line srand unsigned time null, and at the same time we can use rand built-in function. Srand unsigned time null, we said initialize the random number generator to use the run built-in function, which is this one. Okay, first let's do run, see how the program looks like. Perfect. Once we do run, first time the compiler bring me 3 different random numbers. Starting the first one, when I called it run built-in function, it's give me 13,500 something, and for the second time when I called it 10,663, and for the third time 11,993. So let's do run again to check if they will give me different random numbers. Perfect. For the second time also, it's give me different random numbers, 13,614 and 7,000 for second time when I called it, and 26,632 for the third time. So this is the rand built-in function. If you want to create or build program to print for you, generate and print for you different random numbers, we have first to include cstd library, and after that we use this srand unsigned time null one time in the main function, as I do it now and explain it on the slide for 45 minutes. Even I bring water because my throat is hurting me. And I'm just kidding, right? And after that we can use the rand built-in function. This is if you want to print or display on console screen or in your program application that you build it, random numbers according to the rand range, rand built-in function range, which is start from 0 up to 32,000. All right. But if we want to let the compiler print for us random numbers according to our range, that we will set it when we build our function here, which is GenerateRandomNumber. So first let's do comment for these 3 lines of code and bring our function. We have here function, perfect. We build it. Let's bring this line of code and do a comment for it. Perfect. We call our function that's called GenerateRandomNumber. It's from integer data type. It takes from and to. It has from and to in its parameter. From store inside 1 and to store inside number 10. The range has 10 numbers, which is counts 10 digits, which means, as I said, the size of this range 1 and 10, starting from 1 and end up at 10, we have 10 digits or 10 numbers within this range, our range 1 and 10. Let's do run first to check if it's going to work or not, as we explained on the slide. Perfect. First time when I did run by using my function and my range, the compiler print for me a random number, or return for me random number between or within 1 and 10, like within my range. If I did run again, perfect, the compiler print for me also different random number within my range 1 and 10, not within the rand built-in function range, no, within my range. Now I ran it for 2 times, compiler doesn't give me any random number out of this range, just the compiler give me numbers in the range, in our range. All right, so let's go to explain or see how we wrote the logic. It's exactly the same as explained on the slide. Inside this function is same like on the slide. It's from integer data type, as we said, generate random function, generate random number, its name, it takes from and to, and inside it we start integer range equal to minus from plus 1. We say this line of code counts how many numbers exist in our range. The size, it gives us the size. For example, first time when we call the generate random function, our range it was from 1 to 10. The size, which means how many numbers, the size, when I told you the size, which means how many numbers we have within this range. 10 numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 till 10, 10. But second time, when I call the same function, for second time and third time when I call the same function, which is generate random number, I have different range, from 5 to 8. So the size of my range now is different, because from 5 to 8, 4 numbers. The range has 4 numbers, which is counts as a 4 digits. Because 5, 6, 7, 8, it's 4 numbers. For that, this line of code inside the function 2 minus from plus 1, it counts for me how many number we have it in our range, which means give me the size of my range, and we store it inside the range. And after that, we have second line of code, it's called integer result equal rand. Let's say the rand return for us any number, 37, 30. We will take this rand number as we use it was here, and return for us random numbers between 0 and 32,000, because this is the range of rand built-in function. But here when we use it, also compiler return for us number according to the rand function, but we will mod it with our size. Why we mod it with our size? To control the compiler, or to let the compiler print for us random number within our range that we will assign it or set it down in the main function inside the parameter of this function that's called GenerateRandomNumber. All right, so when we say rand mod, let's say for first time 10, 37 mod 10, it will give me 7 plus from, which means plus 1, to shift it from 7 to 8, because 8 is the correct random number that the compiler return it for me, because modulo doesn't care about my desired range. Modulo only gives the reminder according to its range, which starts from 0 to the size of the range. For example, if the compiler return 37 mod range stored inside 10, for example, 37 mod 10 is give me 7. It's wrong. Why wrong? Because the modulo, it has its own range. So the modulo return for me the remainder, because modulo is division but with leftovers. But the modulo, unfortunately, it has its own range and starting from 0. And I don't have any range in my main function, in my parameter starting from 0. I have the first range starting from 1 to 10, and the second one 5 to 8, and the third one 1 to 12. So I need to shift or modify the range of the modulo. For that, I say plus from. If my range starting from 0, no need to use plus from. But most of the time, my range do not start from 0. For that, I have to use plus from. Let's do run for these 3 lines of code and see if the compiler is going to give me different random numbers within our range. Perfect. Once I did run, the compiler give me for the first time number 3. When I call generate random number, it's give me number 3, and number 3 within my range. And for the second time, when I call generate random number function, compiler give me number 8, and number 8 is within my second range. For third time, give me number 8 also. Number 8 is within my third range. Let's close it and do run again to check it out if it will give me different random numbers within our 3 ranges. Perfect. First time 5, second time 5, third time 5, 5, 5, 5. All of these random numbers that the compiler returned them for me within my 3 ranges that I set them here in the parameters of the generate random number function. Let's run it again for third time. Sorry, I know that the sentence is long, but to make sure that it's returned for me different random numbers within my ranges. Perfect. 7 within our first range, 6 within our second range, 5 within our third range. And this line of code, as explained on the slide, to know the max number of rand built-in function, which is already 32,767. I already explained to you on the slide, but to know it or to let the command display it for you on console screen, you have to use this line of code, rand underscore max. It will give you the maximum number, and I told you it's also according to the compiler of the programming language. So here, because we use C++, our random maximum number is 32,767, and its range starts from 0 up to 32,767. Let's do run just to see the compiler will give us. Perfect. Compiler give us the biggest number or the maximum number of the rand built-in function range, 32,767. So that was the lesson of today. And as I told you in the beginning, if you not understand this lesson, you can pass it. Your future not rely on it. Your developing career and to be a good programming developer, it's not going to rely on this problem. So don't panic if you don't understand it. Just pass it and watch the next lesson and next problems. Because even me in the career, I have already over 10 years, over a decade experience, and there is, if you ask me, there is 10 now, a lot of problems. If you told me to solve it, I cannot solve it. And the most important skill that the developer should have it's ability to find solution. Even if you don't know how to solve problems, but if you know how to find the solution for your problem, for your task that they will give it to you in the company, this is the most wanted skill that developer should has it, and many other things, but also this is the most wanted skill that the developer should has it, which is ability to find a solution for your problems. And if you ask me if there is any developer in the world couldn't solve any problems, I'll tell you a lot of developers in the world, they couldn't solve a lot of problems, and they are genius. They have 30, 50 years plus experience. So that was the lesson of today. Problem number 18, write a program to build and print 3 numbers. See you next problem, next lesson. Ciao.